Hey, what's up? It's Trap Barbie, and I'm here today to tell y'all about my times when I was a scripper. So I danced for 2 years, and it was a good thing and a bad thing for me. My incentive was the money. The money is good, and I don't think it's nothing wrong with dancing. Like, make that money, honey. You feel me? I worked at Seventh Veil. I worked at Palomino's in Vegas. I worked at Dreams in Long Beach. And those were the main clubs I worked at. I did a couple private events, private parties. I did warehouse parties. But those are the main places that I worked. I started dancing when I was 19. And for me, I was one of the youngest people in the club that I worked at, because I worked at Star Strip Gentlemen's Club as my home club after I first started at Seventh Veil. Seventh Veil and Star Strip used to be connected. They were sister clubs. So once I started working at Seventh Veil, I worked the day shift there. I had a manager named Ryan who was super, super nice, and a manager named Hazel who was another dancer. They hired me my first day. And I was super nervous during my audition because I didn't know no pole tricks. Like, when I say I didn't know none, I didn't know none. And I had never pole danced in my life. So I was just up there twerking, and any girls who are like baby scrippers, new scrippers, like, just twerk. Twerking will save you. If you don't know no pole tricks, that's my advice. And for me, it was really nice because the girls in the club taught me a lot of my tricks. There was a Hazel and a girl named Lo, and they taught me a lot of my pole tricks. So that was a really good experience for me. They were really nice to me. When I got to Star Strip, which was my home club, it went well, but things did happen that are kind of behind the scenes. And the first thing that I could really think of is the gossip. Honey, the gossip. So, because I was one of the youngest people in the club, and I was new, and just to keep it 100, for people who are not familiar with club life or with dancer life, I was 19, you know what I'm saying? And most of the people I danced with were older. And sometimes that's a reason why people will talk about you if you make more money in a strip club, not because you're younger than them, but because if you make more money than them, they feel like you're direct competition because it's based on looks. But I honestly feel like working in a strip club is based on personality. I feel like if you have a good personality, then people are going to tip you and people are going to want to talk to you. I've had whole lap dances where people have paid to talk to me just to have a conversation multiple times. So, a slew of times actually, because when I worked in the clubs, I would talk to people like I'm their friend, we're hanging out, we're about to have a good time, it's about to be lit, you know what I'm saying? So you can't just come at customers, in my opinion, with, oh, you want to dance? Oh, do you want to dance? Like, you got to treat them like people because they are. And, everybody wants to feel good and be treated cool. You know what I'm saying? And so my first year dancing was the hardest year, I would say, because I wasn't used to that. I'm not really the gossiping type of person. I'm not really that, I'm going to go back and say something about somebody, because I always felt like that's just being messy. You know what I'm saying? So that's not really my style. And it was just overwhelming for me to be all of a sudden the topic of conversation for every reason that I could think of, and I wasn't really doing nothing but showing up to work trying to get my money, And so that gossip kind of got to me, but I decided to stick to it. I loved the idea at the time of being able to have a constant party, and make money while doing it, because I was, going to the club prior to dancing. And it's like, going to the club is not making me no money. but going to the strip club is making me some money. So, you know, that was like the difference. It's like, ooh, I'm gonna go party, but I'm gonna make me some money too. You know, so I feel like the pros and cons of dancing are very much so based on who you are as a person and just based on the club that you work at. Like, there are clubs I worked at that were really good in general, but there were some clubs like that I worked at that were difficult. And I had an interview an audition, an interview. But I had an audition at Little Darlings in Vegas, and I had called on the phone. And this was into my second year of dancing. So I had called on the phone, and I talked to the manager, you know, and said, hey, I want to audition. You know, I told him my name, blah, blah, blah. And not trying to be crass or anything, but people think because I speak really proper, which is ignorant in itself, that, you know, I am of another race sometimes on the phone. So I guess that was what he thought. And so when I got to Little Darlings, he wouldn't let me audition. That's how I got to Palomino's, because I had went all the way to the sheriff's department. For those of you who don't know, when you dance in Vegas, you have to go to the sheriff's department, and you have to clear that you don't have any warrants or anything like that. And then they'll let you dance there. You have to pay a fee. So that's how I ended up working at Palomino's. At Palomino's Urban Nights, they have shows, different people do different shows. And I don't even know if that club is still open anymore, but it was a good club. Like, I made a lot of money going there, and I had a really good time. But somebody did steal my shoes, and somebody did steal my dancing top. Somebody asked me to borrow an extra top, and it was gone by the end of the night. And I had forgot which dancer, because there were so many girls there. I forgot which dancer I lent the top to, because I forgot what the top looked like. I used to come in with my dancing bag full of clothes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes in the middle of the night, like, if I wasn't getting the kind of money I want, I switch up the whole aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let's say I was in all black. Oh, I might pull it out like a pink outfit. You know what I'm saying? I might pull out a pink outfit, and then, like, now we're doing the baby girl vibes. We're doing something different, you know? So that happened. And then when I was working at Star Strip, somebody stole my shoes, and someone also tried to steal my money. So that was something that I wasn't prepared for either. And the normal way that people handle it in the strip club is fighting all the time. For me personally, I felt like I'm not no MMA fighter. I'm not no boxer. I'm not Layla Ali. So why would I want to be fighting all the time when I came in here to make my money? You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things about dancing, is you got all these pros and cons. My tips for like baby strippers, you feel me, is that one, have a very organized dance bag and have everything that you need. Have your baby wipes, have your deodorant in there, have multiple outfits in case you feel like changing because you want to make more money, or you feel like you got a new outfit that you want to rock, but you might want to switch it up in the middle of the night. For me personally, I would have like icy hot for the bottom of my feet, because you know them pleasers, baby, 7 inches. Like, my pleasers was always 7 inches. So, you know, when you put on them pleasers, honey, it's out. Your feet is about to be out after you get off that stage for the whole night. You know what I'm saying? You dance like 6 to 8 hours. I never worked the day shift, except for when I first started. I worked the day shift at Seventhville, but then I moved to Star Strip and I only worked night shifts. And I started doing parties and everything like that within my second year of dancing. But you're working like hours and hours in these 7-inch heels. So for me, I would bring the little jar of icy hot, and I would just put that in there and then put some on the bottom of my feet as I was walking out the club, like, you know, right in the locker room before I left. And that would help with like the foot pain or whatever. I also would say bring a second pair of shoes. You never know what tricks you're gonna want to do, and like the shoes that don't have the straps, you know, they're easier to fall off. Like one time I almost fell off the stage wearing some strapless shoes, so I wouldn't recommend that. I recommend the ankle straps because you don't want to fall off the stage while you're dancing. I really like working at Star Strip because their lap dances was $700. And like, whoa, like $700 for a lap dance? Like, that shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I come into work and I know for a fact, like, all I gotta do is get one dance to get my 40% of $700, that makes me happy. You know, so that's really like one of the perks is like the money is so good. When you do private parties, the money is good because they usually pay you to show up. That's the first thing. So you should have a deposit just to come in the building. And then you get tips on top of that. So that's also really fun, is doing private parties and doing birthday parties. I've done a few at a warehouse, at people's apartments. You know, as long as I got a pole, I'm showing up and showing out, you know, at that time in my life when I was dancing. So those are my tips kind of for baby scrippers, and that's just some of my story times. I did make friends in the club too, you know, which can happen. So it's not that everybody was just stealing and doing all this stuff. Like I said, when I first started working at the club, Hazel and Lo, who were two people that had already been dancing, had taught me all my tricks on the pole. So that, along with my personality, was able to help me make it as a dancer, because I just be talking to people. Like, I'll go up to somebody and talk to them rather than go up to them and ask for a dance. So those are some of my experiences and my stories, and those are some of the things I think you should consider if you are new to dancing or if you want to start dancing. And just think about if you cut for it, because I feel like I was, because I did it for 2 years, and then I did a couple more events after the 2 years. And at some point I just, you know, I was working another job, I had other stuff, I'm in school, so I ended up just not dancing. But you have to see if you really cut for that, you know, because it's a different type of cutthroat that you're going to deal with on a daily basis, you know, and you have to be ready for it. Because unless you're that type of person too, who's just, you know, messy, be gossiping, whatever the case may be, that's the environment you're going to be in. It's like you a sheep in a lion's den. So anyway, thanks for tuning into my channel. That was my story time, and bye y'all.